Hey everyone, and welcome back to Voices of the Soul. Today we're doing a deep dive into a topic that I think a lot of our listeners can relate to.
Oh, for sure.
It's the frustrations and resentments that can come up when you're dating in your early 20s.
Yeah.
So our listener this time is a 23-year-old guy, and he's feeling really disheartened when he looks at his friends,
Mm-hmm.
especially when he compares himself to them.
Yeah.
Because he sees his friends, who he describes as toxic.
I see.
He sees them engaging in all these behaviors like cheating and lying,
Oh, wow.
not treating women very well,
Uh-huh.
but they seem to have no trouble attracting partners.
Yeah, it's understandable why he would be feeling this way. I
Right.
think at that age, it's so easy to get caught up in the comparison game
Yeah,
and start to feel like you're falling behind if you're
Mhm.
not having the same experiences as your peers.
exactly.
And I think it makes sense that he would feel resentful
Yeah.
and question his own approach to dating.
So what do we do about that? What
Yeah.
is going on here?
Well, I think the first thing to recognize is that the kinds of relationships
Okay.
that his friends are having are often built on, a foundation of toxicity.
Okay.
And
So they may attract a certain type of person,
right,
but those connections are unlikely to be healthy
exactly.
or fulfilling in the long run.
Yeah, and a lot of people were saying this on Reddit too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were pointing out that these guys are attracting
Oh, interesting.
women who are also comfortable with that drama and chaos.
Oh, so it's like a self-fulfilling.
Exactly. It creates this cycle of
Wait.
dysfunction.
Okay.
And this kind of, ties into a broader societal trend
What's that?
that we call hookup culture,
Oh, yeah.
which is essentially just this environment where, casual sexual encounters are more common
Mm,
and often they're prioritized over like traditional dating and relationships.
right.
So it's not even really, a genuine connection that
Yeah.
they're looking for.
So our listener, instead of envying his friend's success,
Yeah.
maybe needs to kind of understand that those relationships aren't actually something to aspire to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that brings us to another really key point, which is
Good.
the difference between genuine confidence
Okay.
and the kind of bravado that often masks insecurity.
Yeah, like they may appear confident
Right.
on the surface
On the surface, but their behavior suggests a lack of self-respect.
and a lack of respect for the people that they're with.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so many commenters online were emphasizing that true confidence comes from within.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being comfortable with who you are
Yeah.
and pursuing your passions
Mm-hmm.
and treating others with kindness and respect.
Yes. And one commenter said this, and I thought it was a really good analogy.
What was that?
They said, romance is a side quest. It's not your main quest.
Well, I like that.
Your main quest is you.
Yeah.
It's about prioritizing personal growth.
Mm.
Becoming the best version of yourself rather than seeking validation through
Mm.
external sources like dating success.
Okay, so instead of trying to be like his friends and emulate all their toxic behaviors,
Right.
he should focus on developing genuine self-confidence.
Exactly.
Okay, but how do we actually do that?
Well, I think the first and most important step is he needs to create some distance between himself and this friend group.
Okay.
Because right now, they're just reinforcing all of these negative beliefs and behaviors.
So not necessarily cut them off completely, but maybe be more discerning about
Exactly.
how much time and energy he's investing in those
Yeah,
friendships.
Exactly, because surrounding yourself with people who uplift and support you is
Right.
crucial for personal growth and well-being.
Yeah.
And as he's creating that space, he can start exploring new activities
Okay.
and interests that align with his values.
A lot of people suggested things like joining a gym or a book club or volunteering.
Yeah,
It's about putting himself out there and meeting people
right.
who share his interests
Yeah,
and outlook on life.
exactly. And as he's doing this, it's important to remember that his worth is not tied to his dating success.
Yeah, it's about building a life that he's proud of,
Right.
regardless of his relationship status.
Yeah, and I think as he does this, his confidence will naturally grow.
Right.
And that will attract the right kinds of people into his life.
And there was a really insightful point that someone made about the women that his friends are involved with.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling resentful towards these women,
Right.
maybe he should try to cultivate some empathy and understanding.
Exactly.
I mean, why is that?
Well, because their choices might be influenced by their own past experiences, their attachment styles,
Right.
or even societal pressures.
Yeah, we often forget that everyone is on their own journey,
Yeah,
and their behaviors are not always a reflection of us personally.
absolutely. And that brings us to another
Exactly.
important concept,
Okay.
which is attachment styles.
What is that?
So these are patterns of relating to others that
Oh.
we develop early on in life,
Mm.
often based on our relationships with our caregivers.
Okay.
And there are different attachment styles, such as
Yeah.
secure, anxious, and avoidant.
Okay.
And these styles can influence how we approach relationships,
Interesting.
how comfortable we are with intimacy,
Okay.
and how we handle conflict.
So someone with an anxious attachment style, for instance,
Yes.
might be more prone to seeking validation and reassurance,
Right.
whereas someone with an avoidant style might be more guarded
Exactly.
or emotionally distant.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And understanding these patterns can really help us make sense of our own behavior
Yeah.
and the behaviors of others.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So instead of, judging these women,
Mm-hmm.
maybe try to see them through a lens of compassion,
Exactly.
recognizing that they might be acting out of their own unmet needs
Right.
or past hurts.
Precisely. It's about shifting from a place of judgment to a place of understanding.
This has been so helpful so far. I
Oh.
feel like we've covered so much ground.
Yeah, we have.
In this first part of our deep dive, we talked about the dangers of those toxic friendships, the importance of self-confidence,
Yeah.
cultivating empathy,
Mm.
understanding attachment styles.
We've only just scratched the surface.
Wow.
But before we move on, I wanted to remind everyone that we're all about
Yes.
creating a really supportive community here at Voices of the Soul.
Yes, we are.
So if you're enjoying this deep dive and you're finding these conversations helpful,
Yes.
please consider subscribing to our podcast and giving us a like.
Yeah. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to go check out Shauna Pelage's channel
Yes.
for even more insightful content on personal growth and relationships.
Yes, exactly.
We will be back soon with part 2 of this deep dive, so stay tuned.
Yes. Welcome back to Voices of the Soul. Before we move on to giving our listeners some tangible advice, I think it's worth exploring something pretty crucial that a bunch of the Reddit commenters were saying.
Okay.
This whole idea of shifting his focus away from seeking validation from women
Yeah.
and toward, investing in himself and his own growth.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Right.
So many people were saying this, that
Yeah.
real confidence comes from within.
Yeah.
And focusing on your own personal development is actually super attractive.
It's like they were saying, hey, forget about chasing women for a little bit.
Right.
Focus on becoming the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And the right opportunities will come naturally.
Yeah. And it's about fostering that sense of self-worth
Right.
that doesn't depend on external validation.
Yeah, it's not about trying to win someone over,
Right.
but it's about becoming the type of person
Right.
who naturally attracts the right kinds of partners.
Yeah.
And even a few people were saying that when you shift that focus,
Okay.
it can actually make you more attractive.
Oh, really? How so?
Because when you're genuinely passionate about something,
Okay.
whether it's a hobby or a career goal, or even just learning a new skill
Okay.
that shines through.
Okay.
And that kind of authenticity is
Yeah.
magnetic.
Okay, so for example, one person brought up the gym.
Right.
Going to the gym helps with your physique,
Mm-hmm.
helps with your self-confidence, self-esteem.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for those mental and physical benefits
Right.
of just taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
It's about building that foundation of strength, both inside and out.
Hmm.
And it's not just about looks.
Right.
It's about feeling good in your own skin,
Okay.
which then translates into confidence in all areas of your life,
Yeah.
including dating.
And another interesting point that came up was this idea of reframing rejection. Instead of seeing it as a personal failure,
Yeah.
see it as a filtering system.
Exactly. And this is where understanding the dynamics of attraction is so important.
Okay.
Because not everyone is going to be attracted to you.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's not a reflection of your worth.
Okay.
It's just a matter of compatibility.
Yeah. One commenter put it this way, and I'm going to quote this because I thought this was really interesting. He said, "Picking up girls is a numbers game.
Okay.
You will probably be rejected 10 times for every girl that wants to get to know you.
Okay.
100 times if it's online dating."
Oh, wow.
And then he went on to say,
Yeah.
you need to filter for the girls that want to get a guy,
Oh,
and then you want to be the kind of a guy that they want.
right. It sounds a little harsh,
Yeah.
but there's a certain strategic element to dating,
Yeah.
It's about understanding what you're looking for
Yeah.
and putting yourself in situations where you're likely to find it.
Yeah.
You're not trying to be everything to everyone.
Right.
It's about being authentically yourself
Okay.
and attracting people who appreciate you for who you are.
And this brings us back to expanding his social circle.
Exactly.
Like by trying new activities,
Yeah.
meeting new people,
Yeah.
he's increasing his chances of finding
Yeah.
someone who's compatible.
Compatible, yeah.
And it's not just about romantic prospects.
Right.
Building those strong friendships with both men and women can provide a sense of belonging and support.
Yeah, and several commenters mentioned specifically
Okay.
the importance of having female friends.
Yeah.
Because they said that that could help him to break down some of these generalizations
Right.
that he has about women.
It's easy to see the opposite gender as a monolithic group,
Exactly.
especially when you're frustrated in dating.
And that can lead to misunderstandings
Yeah.
and resentment.
So one commenter said, learn to empathize with women. Stop treating and viewing them as a separate species that you have to infiltrate.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that women are just as complex and diverse as men. They have their own hopes and fears and dreams and insecurities.
And another piece of practical advice that kept coming up
Yeah.
was this idea of being patient.
Oh, yeah.
You know, at 23,
Yeah.
it's easy to feel like you're falling behind
Yeah.
if you haven't found a serious relationship yet.
Right.
But as many people pointed out,
Yeah.
he's still young.
Yeah.
There's no need to rush.
Yeah, one commenter shared this really relatable sentiment.
Okay, what was that?
They said, all my life I've felt like I just wanted a genuine connection, while everyone else seems like they couldn't care less.
Oh.
They all just need placeholders until the next best thing.
Yeah. It's easy to feel that way
It is.
when you're surrounded by people
Yeah.
who just seem to be effortlessly navigating the dating world.
It's important to remember that everyone's journey is different.
Yeah.
And, one commenter actually shared a story
Okay.
about her husband
Okay.
who was turned down a lot in college
Oh, no.
because he was looking for a serious relationship,
Okay.
while many women his age just wanted to play the field.
Okay, so it just highlights the importance of
Yeah.
being true to yourself
Yes.
and not settling for something that
Right.
doesn't align with your values.
Exactly. It's okay to be selective.
Yeah.
It's okay to have high standards. It's okay to want a relationship that's built on mutual respect, trust, and genuine connection.
And, while he's working on all of this, it's also important to,
Yeah.
be kind to himself.
Absolutely.
Rejection is a part of life,
It is.
especially in dating.
It's okay to feel disappointed or hurt,
Yeah.
but don't let those feelings consume you.
And that's where self-care comes in.
Exactly.
Finding those healthy ways to cope with those difficult emotions.
Talking to a trusted friend, journaling,
Yeah.
engaging in activities that you enjoy,
Yeah.
or even seeking professional support.
Yeah, one commenter actually mentioned how
Yeah.
he was feeling that same pressure
Yeah.
in his early 20s
Okay.
and how things changed when he stopped caring so much
Yeah.
and started focusing on enjoying himself.
What did she say?
He said, going out with full intention of seeing where the night goes
Okay.
and just rolling with it
Yeah.
instead of being on a mission is liberating. That freedom breeds confidence because success comes easier
I love that.
when your only goal is to enjoy yourself.
That is so true.
And it's about finding that balance between putting yourself out there
Yeah.
and not taking things too seriously.
Right. So to kind of sum up
Yes.
what we've talked about so far,
Yeah.
our listener is facing this challenge that's so common, feeling resentful and inadequate in his dating life,
Right.
while comparing himself to his toxic friends.
Right.
But by shifting his focus from seeking validation to personal growth,
Okay.
expanding his social circle, cultivating empathy for women,
Yeah.
being patient with himself,
Yeah.
he can create this path
Okay.
that's much more fulfilling and authentic towards finding the right relationship.
And remember, there's nothing wrong with seeking guidance and support
Of course not.
along the way.
Yeah, whether it's through therapy, self-help resources,
Hmm.
or even just having these open and honest conversations
Yeah.
with trusted friends and family, connecting with others can give you some really valuable insights
Yeah.
and help you navigate this journey with more confidence and clarity.
Now, before we move on to our final part of this deep dive,
Yeah.
we wanted to take a moment to just express our gratitude
Yes.
for the incredible community here
At Voices of the Soul.
at Voices of the Soul.
Yes.
If you're enjoying this episode,
Yeah.
you're finding these discussions helpful,
Mm-hmm.
please consider hitting that subscribe button
Yeah.
and leaving us a like.
It really means a lot to us.
It truly does.
It helps us reach more people
Yeah.
who might be going through similar challenges and lets us know that we're making a positive impact.
And if you're really enjoying the insightful analysis that we're providing,
Yeah.
be sure to check out Shauna Pelage's YouTube channel for even more content.
Yes.
Welcome back to Voices of the Soul. In this final part, I kind of want to explore some of the more nuanced advice that we were seeing in the Reddit thread. It's not just about those external changes like ditching your toxic friends
Right.
or hitting the gym.
Yeah.
It's also about understanding those deeper psychological
Yeah, for sure.
dynamics at play.
Yeah. A lot of the commenters were emphasizing self-awareness,
Oh.
self-reflection.
Okay, so it's not enough to just go through the motions of dating.
Right.
You have to actually look inward
Yeah.
and examine your own beliefs and behaviors.
And one commenter said, and I'm going to quote him here because I thought this was interesting.
Okay.
He said, "You navigate these emotions by realizing it's a flaw in you and not a flaw in women. You need to figure out what this flaw is and overcome it."
Yeah, now I don't know if I would necessarily frame it as a flaw,
Right.
but I think the point is that personal growth
Yeah.
often involves identifying those areas where you can improve.
And being willing to ask yourself those tough questions.
Yeah.
And being honest about the answers.
And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck.
It-
Because it can be really uncomfortable to
Right.
confront your own,
Shortcomings.
your own shortcomings.
But it's so essential for growth.
Okay, so how could we do that in a healthy way?
I think it's about approaching self-improvement with a sense of curiosity
Okay,
and compassion.
okay.
Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience?
Yeah.
How can I use this feedback to become a better version of myself?
Yeah, that's a much more empowering approach.
Yeah.
It's about focusing on solutions
Right.
instead of just getting bogged down in that self-criticism.
Exactly. And a lot of people were also talking about this idea of managing expectations.
Okay.
Because, especially when you're 23,
Yeah,
it's easy to get caught up in this idea
right.
you should have it all figured out.
Right, especially in the dating world.
Especially in the dating world.
And I think social media plays a big role in that.
Totally.
We're constantly bombarded with these images
Yeah.
of seemingly perfect couples.
Right. And whirlwind romances.
Right. And it sets these unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. And one person said,
Okay.
life is about managing expectations.
Okay.
You can't be disappointed, dejected, or demoralized if you expect nothing from people.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far to
Right.
say expect nothing.
But it's about being realistic.
Okay, so it's about understanding that dating is a process
Yeah,
and there will be ups and downs along the way.
totally.
There will be rejection.
Yeah.
There will be ghosting.
Right.
There might even be some heartbreak.
Yeah,
But that doesn't mean you're doing something wrong
it doesn't.
or that you're not worthy of love.
Right. It's all part of the journey.
And it's also about celebrating those small wins along the way.
Totally.
A good conversation, a fun date,
Right.
a genuine connection.
Those are all worth celebrating, even if they don't lead to a long-term relationship.
So shifting the focus from the destination
From the journey.
to the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another point that was really important is this idea of being present and authentic in your interactions.
Yes, absolutely.
When you're so focused on trying to impress someone or fit into a certain mold,
Yeah,
it can backfire.
totally. One commenter said, "Women are attracted to charisma and character.
Okay.
However, most importantly, your appearance." Now, I don't know if I would say most importantly appearance.
Right.
But
But it's about presenting yourself in a way that feels genuine
yeah.
and aligned with who you are.
So it's not just about physical looks.
It's not.
It's about that overall energy.
Exactly. And that ties into the advice that we were talking about earlier
Okay.
about having passions and interests outside of dating.
Okay.
Because when you have a life that you're excited about,
Right.
it makes you more interesting and attractive
She does.
to other people.
Yeah.
It shows that you're a well-rounded individual with depth and substance.
And you have something to offer
Yeah.
beyond just the prospect of a romantic relationship.
And, reading through all these comments.
I was struck by this sense of community and support.
Yeah.
Even though this is just a random thread on Reddit,
Right.
there was this overwhelming sense of people wanting to help this guy out.
Oh, that's so nice.
And, they shared their own experiences, offered encouragement,
yeah.
and reminded him that he's not alone.
And that's something that we really strive to cultivate here
Yeah.
at Voices of the Soul.
Absolutely. We're all in this together.
We are?
And sharing our experiences, our insights, even our vulnerabilities
Yeah.
can help us all navigate life's challenges
Yeah.
with more grace and resilience.
So to wrap up our deep dive on resentment in dating,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listener with this thought.
Okay.
You are worthy of love,
Yes,
just as you are.
absolutely.
It might not happen overnight and the path might not be straight,
Mm-hmm.
but by focusing on your personal growth,
Yeah.
cultivating self-compassion and expanding your horizons,
Mm.
you're going to create the conditions for those meaningful relationships to enter your life.
And in the meantime, remember to enjoy the journey.
Yes.
Embrace the ups and downs, learn from your experiences,
Yeah.
and never give up on that possibility of finding love.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the world of dating and resentment.
Yeah, thank you.
We hope you found it insightful and helpful.
I hope so.
Remember, you're not alone in this journey,
You're not.
and we're here to support you every step of the way.
Absolutely.
Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
We'll see you soon.